I had always loved hiking, and the idea of getting lost in the wilderness didn't scare me. In fact, I relished the thrill of the unknown, the thrill of the hunt, and the sheer beauty of nature. So when my friends invited me to join them on a weekend hiking trip, I jumped at the chance. Our group consisted of 5 people, all of us experienced hikers who had spent countless hours on the trails. We were confident, skilled, and well-equipped for the journey ahead. We packed our bags with food, water, and camping gear, and set off into the woods. For the first few hours, the hike was uneventful. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the forest was alive with the sound of our footsteps. We followed the trail markers and kept a steady pace, eager to reach our campsite before nightfall. As the day wore on, however, things began to change. The trail grew steeper, the air grew colder, and the forest grew darker. The trees loomed over us like giant sentinels, casting long shadows across the path. The wind picked up, and we heard strange noises coming from the underbrush. We shrugged it off as just the sounds of nature and pushed on. That night, we set up camp in a clearing near a river. We built a fire, cooked our dinner, and settled in for the night. We talked and laughed, shared stories, and enjoyed the quiet solitude of the wilderness. But as the night wore on, we began to notice something strange. The forest had grown eerily silent. The wind had died down, and the only sound was the crackling of the fire. We couldn't hear any animals, not even insects. It was as if the forest was holding its breath. That's when we heard it. A faint whispering, like someone was talking just beyond the edge of the clearing. We froze, listening intently. The whispering grew louder, and we could hear the sound of footsteps crunching on leaves. We grabbed our flashlights and shone them into the darkness. But there was no one there. We searched the area, but found no sign of anyone or anything. We were spooked, but we tried to convince ourselves it was just our imagination. The next day, we set off early, eager to put some distance between ourselves and the strange sounds of the night before. But as we hiked deeper into the woods, things got even stranger. The trail became more difficult to follow, and we started to notice strange symbols carved into the trees. They were like nothing we had ever seen before, a strange mixture of ancient symbols and modern graffiti. We couldn't make sense of them, but they seemed to be leading us deeper into the forest. As the day wore on, we began to feel like we were being watched. Every time we turned around, there was nothing there. But we could feel eyes on us, watching our every move. We tried to ignore it, but it was hard to shake the feeling that something was following us. That night, we set up camp again, this time near a small lake. We were all tired and a little bit scared, but we tried to put on a brave face. We cooked our dinner, shared a few jokes, and settled in for the night. But as we were drifting off to sleep, we heard a strange sound coming from the lake. It was a low, mournful howling that echoed through the forest. We all sat up, trying to pinpoint the source of the sound. But as we looked out over the water, we saw something that made our blood run cold. There was a figure standing at the edge of the lake, watching us. It was tall, with long arms and legs, and its skin was black as coal. Its eyes glowed in the darkness, and its mouth hung open in a silent scream. We couldn't move, couldn't even speak. We just sat there, staring at the figure in terror. Suddenly, the figure vanished. We were alone again, but the feeling of dread lingered. We knew we had to get out of there, but we didn't know which way to go. We were lost, and the forest seemed to be closing in around us. As we hiked through the woods, we began to see more and more of the strange symbols carved into the trees. They seemed to be guiding us, but to where we didn't know. We were exhausted, scared, and running out of supplies. Days turned into weeks, and we were still lost in the wilderness. We were hungry, thirsty, and sick with fear. We had encountered strange creatures, seen mysterious figures, and heard things that defied explanation. We were starting to lose hope. But just when we thought all was lost, we stumbled upon a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a massive tree, its trunk wider than any we had ever seen. And at the base of the tree, we saw something that made our hearts skip a beat. It was a backpack. One of our backpacks, the one that belonged to the first member of our group who had disappeared. We rushed over to it, and as we did, we heard a low rumbling sound. The ground shook beneath our feet, and we watched in horror as the massive tree began to split apart. Its bark peeled away, revealing a gaping mouth filled with razor-sharp teeth. It was a trap, a living trap that had been waiting for us all along. We tried to run, but it was too late. The tree consumed us, one by one, pulling us inside its monstrous jaws. We screamed, we fought, but it was no use. We were doomed. The last thing I remember was the feeling of being swallowed whole, the darkness closing in around me. And then, nothing. The search for us continued for weeks, but no trace of us was ever found. Our families and friends were left to wonder what had happened to us, and the forest remained shrouded in mystery. Some say we were taken by a mythical creature that haunts the woods. Others say we stumbled upon a hidden world, a place where the rules of reality don't apply. But no one knows for sure what became of us. All that remains is a chilling tale of terror in the woods, a cautionary tale for those who dare to venture too far into the unknown.